swoop. No save and quit, no wrong warp, no out of bounds. What the hell is that?
Well, this is the main category for this game. In fact, it means that you can't use save and quit to get yourself any sort of positioning or time advantage. You can't wrong warp, so when you go through a door or a transition, you have to go exactly where it's supposed to take you. And no out of bounds means you can't be more than, I want to say, one tile away from a tile you're supposed to be able to stand on.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Like, you're not allowed to walk on ceilings or do weird stuff like super swimming, where you like can go under the map and go just through solids. So that stuff is banned, and we're already perfectly in sync. How about that? Great job, Fiesel.
Both of them holding up that shield like it's their most important possession.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're getting the shield by Terran. This is the guy who found us. Actually, it's his daughter who found us on the beach. They rescued us from the wild animals on Koholland Island. And gotta get down to the beach, get the sword. Lots of movement optimization there possible in the first minute, but like, this is only peanuts. Because we got lots of RNG coming up.
Oh, do we ever.
SkywardSamm going for damage boost there, Dragon just saving the heart, going directly for the sword. They're both holding out their shield to get the sword a little bit quicker there.
Oh, Sam not getting it though.
Lost a second there. Shouldn't matter too much because we got a, in 1.5 minutes, we got a huge RNG skip coming up called Moblin Skip.
Oh, Moblin Skip.
Been there, done that.
Oh boy. Well, you're going to see them both, as they move around, hugging corners and walls really closely. That's actually a wall clipping. If you push into the corner of an object or a wall, you actually clip anywhere between 1 to 3 frames into it, which lets you turn corners faster, but also later on lets you do different tricks and skip certain things, which we'll be mentioning those as we come up on them.
Yeah, basically the most important glitch we have here is wall clipping, because it leads to other tricks we can do to save a ton of time in this category. dragonc0 being a little bit ahead, and entering the lava cave. That's a precise trick there. Dragon got it first try. SkywardSamm also getting it first try. Great job there by both players. It looks easy if they do it like that, but it's actually pretty precise. So a lot of runs and already there after 2 minutes.
Yeah. Clipping into that stone makes it a little bit easier, but still not easy. And dragonc0 getting first try.
Sweet. And looks like he also got the owl skip. Might save a few frames there because he can leave the screen before the owl text appears. Great job, man. dragonc0 is on a great pace so far. SkywardSamm having somewhat of trouble to make that moblin look up. You want that moblin to face up so you can bump into him with your shield, so he shoots an arrow after you walk in front of him. Gonna do that another time. And we're over. Great job.
Okay, you had me a little bit worried there, because if that moblin's uncooperative, you can lose up a minute or more.
Oh my god, that actually happened in my prep run with TGH at last GDQ. I guess I lost half a minute right off the bat because Moblin just didn't cooperate. I'm so glad it was only the practice run.
Yeah, no kidding. Alright, now you can see dragonc0 go into the trendy game to get the magic powder. SkywardSamm heading there too. There are 2 ways you can get magic powder, but the other one involves taking a mushroom to a witch, and that takes a while. It's a big detour, so it's faster just to go play the trendy game and then hopefully get it the first try.
Yeah, we actually should set a bounty for people finding a skip to skip the second room in Dungeon 2, because that's like literally the only room where we need the powder.
Well,
so we should... Sorry, go ahead.
I guess also the last boss, but that's only if you miss the trick for it.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about that. But I guess you don't want to miss that if you want to go for World Recce.
Yeah,
no.
That's true.
The other thing is the guys in LA, the guys who play the original LA, they don't do that after all. They don't get the powder after Dungeon 2, so they stay with the mushroom for the end of the run.
That's because of mushroom shenanigans, which I think are kind of starting to creep their way over into LADX. I've seen some folks experimenting with them in runs, so who knows what'll happen to this game. It keeps changing, which is pretty great, actually. It's a the route keeps changing.
Oh yeah, like because we don't have only minor glitches, we got a little bit more variety in the speed route in our main category. So I actually saw a few changes in the route within the last year since I joined, so that's pretty great. Like, if you compare it to A Link to the Past, where we got the same speed route in the main category for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Oh, we almost forgot to mention, because we're a little bit sidetracked there, but you saw that both of them went and stole 2 things from the shop, and that's because you need the shovel to get the Dungeon 3 key, and the bow is necessary for a lot of things, and it's just really useful to have this early, because it does a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to steal that. It's actually an intended part of the game. Some people ask that. Yes, it's intended because it changes your name to Thief. But we don't care because most of us don't speak Japanese, so...
I actually tried to look up what the Japanese one changes it to, but I haven't been able to find anything about it.
Oh, okay. I heard somebody tell me that it also changes to Thief, but what the hell are we talking about? Because dragonc0 just got one of the most important items, the feather, and it lets you jump, which is also kind of broken because it keeps your speed while jumping diagonally. And you can see him while he's moving diagonally. He always will be jumping, just to save a few frames with moving through the dungeons.
Not to mention that you can. It's not intended for you to have to do a jump of more than 1 square, but you can jump 2 squares.
Oh yeah, that's great.
And the other thing was, what in the world did dragonc0 just do with the feather there?
Yeah, that thing is called a super jump. We clip a little bit and toe the wall a little bit than you're supposed to be in there, I guess. And by jumping and pressing a several button combination, you could say we actually make the game think we're standing on a higher layer, and that way we can jump off the wall and surpass objects or solids or whatever.
And we're going to be doing that a lot in dungeons.
Oh yeah, great fight by dragonc0 there. A really great pace. This is 7:13 for the Dungeon 1 instrument. That should be like a little bit ahead of his CB pace so far. We should also talk about the runners a little bit, I guess. We got dragonc0 being close to a sub 55 there on the leaderboards. He has been sort of an OG runner for when it comes to LEDX. He has been around since, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Originally, Oracle of Season speedrunner. His current PB is a 55:01, so yeah, it's no surprise that he's in the lead right now. He's a great speedrunner of Game Boy Zelda games. We got SkywardSamm, who is also sub 1 hour. His PB is a 58:15. But he might catch up. You know, there are all kinds of shenanigans that might happen throughout the run.
Yeah, we absolutely love this run, but there is a lot of RNG that can really... They can take a world record pace run and turn it into a garbage before you know it. All the way up until the very end, too, so it's not decided until both racers done.
Definitely, there can so much RNG that can happen in the final boss fight. And you can also see Dragon and also Sam killing some enemies on the way to Dungeon 2. They're gonna increment a kill counter that will finally lead to a power-up that is called Piece of Power. Gives you a damage boost and makes you move faster. So that's why you want to have it, especially in dungeons.
The thing about Piece of Power, though, is that if you grab it inside a cave or a dungeon, when you leave it, it goes away. So we're routing specifically so that it drops in the dungeon. Because if it drops before we go into the dungeon, when we enter it, we'll lose it. So we have to make sure we get that 30th kill in the dungeons we want.
Exactly. dragonc0 being, I guess, about 20-ish seconds ahead. And he just grabbed Bow Wow. That's the black ball there, which is actually supposed to be sort of a dog, I guess. We need that one to eat the flowers, being in front of Dungeon 2, and also using something called a flock clip right now on dragonc0 screen. he was wall clipping there and just squeezing through that stone that was in his way. We can do that because the text box, once the text box shows up, the game is like checking for frame, so it's not checking whether you're moving on a solid or not. I guess it could be some sort of explanation on what's going on there. Yeah, actually, it lets you squeeze through blocks, so we're gonna utilize that a few times in the run.
Yep. Also lets you squeeze past key blocks, which is very useful in a lot of spots, especially in Dungeon 3, which you'll be seeing a bit later. And Dragon getting that piece of power exactly where he wants it. And now you can see he's moving faster, and any enemies he hits get launched across the room, and he's also doing more damage, as much damage as a spin attack with a normal slash.
Also, if you're new in this game, you can see the players bringing up their save and quit menu sometimes, or the start menu like we just saw on SkywardSamm's screen. We utilized picking up the piece of power there and bringing his start screen at the same time to skip the text box that is appearing once you pick up the piece of power. And you're also going to see on dragonc0 screen right now that he utilizes that to skip the text box that is saying, oh, you got a power bracelet, now you can lift heavy objects. So bringing up the save and quit menu just cancels that text box. Saves like, I don't know, half a second or so every time.
Yeah, it also turns out that a piece of power makes you pick things up faster, which is very useful.
Oh my god, that sweet time save right there.
Oh,
shoot!
No.
dragonc0, that wasn't supposed to happen. You gotta kill the bunny, then the bat, and then the skeleton warrior. But nice glitch abuse right there by dragonc0. Throwing the pot over the moving block, that's class A gaming we see right there.
Oh, he has to be careful though. I think he should be fine, because the other thing about piece of power is that if you take 3 hits from enemies, you'll lose it. So he took 1 hit there. He should be fine since he's coming up on the boss. But in other dungeons, particularly Dungeon 5,
oh yeah,
it's very easy to take hits, and you do not want to lose piece of power in Dungeon 5.
Oh yeah, especially because there's some damage boosts you want to go for in Dungeon 5, and gotta make sure you don't get more than 3 there, because after the 3rd hit you lose that thing. But he should be fine. I mean, he's already with the boss fight. Doesn't matter at that point anymore. He's clipping up... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
He's clipping into the top left wall there, throwing the ball, breaking it immediately, dropping a bomb, and shooting a bomb arrow at the same time. He's gonna kill the Dungeon 2 boss just like that, in case you're seeing the speedrun the first time. It's a great trick. It's one of the many great quick kills we got with the bosses and the mini-bosses in this game. So that you really have to say that this game is highly optimized when it comes to mini-bosses and boss fights.
Absolutely. And bomb arrows are yet another fantastic use of the bow and arrow, because bombs are great. We use bombs all over this run, and the bomb arrow just basically makes it so that whenever it hits something, it explodes immediately. So you can just be doing multiple bomb hits very quickly with it.
dragonc0 skipping the hard piece of shame. Being right now 30 seconds ahead, but he's gonna come up to something that is called Villa Skip, which is a weird trick because of the pit physics in this game. Because once you drop into the pit, you don't fall down immediately. You can like struggle around a little bit, move around a little bit before it sucks you in. And we're going to utilize that to wait to do some pause buffers, wait for a dropping down the pit sound, and that way we get pushed down 1 pixel sort of onto our menu. We got it there ranked with a 2 buff that's almost optimal.
That's really
and that lets us. Oh my god, that's great! Great pace by dragonc0 so far. He's on fire, man. And yeah, lets us skip a huge side quest where we need to collect 5 leaves and do some shenanigans for some guy called Richard.
Yeah. That's actually a spot where we've seen some folks close gaps. Like if the person in the lead gets 20 pause buffers, which we've seen happen in this tournament.
Oh yeah.
Then the other person gets a lot fewer, then that's quite a few seconds you're making up already.
Unfortunately, it's totally RNG whether you get 2 or 20.
Yep.
Because it's based on something called global frame rule.
Oh, Sam also gets the 2 buffer.
Sweet there. So Dragon still being sort of 30 seconds ahead. And just trying to optimize that room there.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I cut you. You were talking about global frame rules, which are something that actually pops up multiple times.
Yeah. Global frame rules. In case you're running speed running out of the X, global frame rule is like the most annoying thing you can imagine. I always imagine it as sort of a multiplier that just multiplies whether an event will happen or not. You know, whether you will drop down a pit or not. So I always imagine it like there's a frame counter, and whether you're on an uneven or even frame, some event will happen or not. So the game advances by 60 frames per second. You can imagine that that is something you can't calculate throughout the speedrun.
Most definitely not.
We can see Dragon already having the piece of power in Dungeon 3, which lets him move faster. And also another thing which lets him move faster is the boots, the Pegasus boots he just picked up. Entering the Dongo fight for a second time and utilizing a super jump to glitch, to jump or like boost, you could say, over the block there, and using a flock clip to skip the 4th keyhole there.
Yeah, the Dongo skip is a little bit dicey though. You have to do it as quickly as possible, because if you wait too long to do the jump and the bouncing off the worm, you can and will get stuck in the block, in which case you have to save and quit to break out of it. Which, in this race, even though it's against the category, the race it's allowed, because, you know, better to continue than to just have the forfeit right there. But on the downside, you have to go back to the room where you save and quit if you have to do it, and it also ruins your piece of power kill count for the rest of the game, which is the worst thing of all.
In every case, it's a huge time loss.
Yeah.
dragonc0 with a 1642 for the Dungeon 3 instrument, which is an awesome pace, you could say. For a race, that's a great pace. SkywardSamm being a little late there with the piece of power he picked up, but you still want to have it because it makes the the D3 boss fight so much easier because of the double damage you do with your single sword slashes.
Yeah, although he's gonna have to be a bit careful with his perhaps kill a few more enemies along the way, because this does mean that his count is off, which means for getting the drop in Dungeon 5, he's going to be getting it later on in the dungeon rather than early.
And having the worst RNG there, I guess he should wait a little. If the D3 boss doesn't want to split it up immediately, you should wait a little bit. Like, don't mash on him. That's something he doesn't want to do, you know. And again, this is something based on global frame rule, whether he splits up immediately or whether you need a few more times to make him split. Yeah, and what's happening on dragonc0 screen right there, he's utilizing something called bomb event triggers, or just bomb triggers. Actually was found by, I guess, was Green Tunic and Flockdure, so shoutouts to both of those LED X runners, Flockdure and Green Tunic. They were just like running around and throwing bombs randomly while playing the game, and they actually found out if you drop a bomb during a screen transition, it actually doesn't drop only one bomb, it drops 2 bombs, and the game doesn't allow you to drop 2 bombs at a time, and that makes the game freak out and just do like everything and just play randomly placed cutscenes. So that way we don't need to bring Marin along to sing for the Walrus. That way we can just trigger the Walrus cutscene by that and enter the little desert down there to get the Dungeon 4 key.
Yep, and it turns out there's a lot of things that bomb triggers affect, because runners spent a lot of time just experimenting throughout this game, trying to figure out what they could and couldn't trigger with the bombs. And so there's a lot of situations, especially later on, where you're going to be seeing bomb triggers used extensively to save minutes. Alright, but Dragon's got the level 4 key, the Dungeon 4 key, which is great. Hopefully he won't forget to open Dungeon 4.
Especially you, Crunchy, saying that.
Yeah, exactly. I've already done it. I've already taken the hit for the team, so no one else has to.
Yeah, like the thing is, you gotta take care while you're on your route, so you don't miss the detour you have to take with opening Dungeon 4.
Yeah, unlike the other dungeons, the keyhole is not really that close to where the actual entrance is. You have to go all the way up and around the mountains to get to the door once you open it. It looks like he's remembered to go open the door, so we're good.
He's fine. SkywardSamm having a little trouble there with picking up the Dungeon 4 key, dropping down the sand pit, but that should lose him another 10 seconds, but he should be fine though.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Still being on a great pace.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been little minor mistakes here and there, but both of them are generally playing very well here.
I'm just saying it because, like, Dragon hasn't been playing the game very much lately, you could say. And he said that probably during this tournament, a new PB will happen. And I'm like, I know his skills, I know what he's capable of, so that could be the run, man. Maybe we're gonna see a new PB for dragonc0 tonight, so I'm excited.
Oh, that'd be cool. Goodness knows there's still plenty of things left to do in this race, so even though his numbers turned red for a moment, he is still very much capable of pulling a PB here.
Same with SkywardSamm, of course.
Alright, so here we are in Dungeon 4. About to do a couple of silly jumps, get some items, and then not finish the dungeon. What's up with that?
Oh my god, yeah. Once you finish Dungeon 4, there's a ghost appearing, always following you and saying something like, blah, 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 I need to go to my house, bring me to my house. Once you brought him to the house, you gotta bring him to his grave, and then you're finally free and good to enter Dungeon 5. Yeah, we're gonna skip that cutscene, not cutscene, but that side quest entirely. Also, you saw on Dragon's screen there that you're not supposed to do that, jumping over that square the way he just did, but that's just like optimized jumps you can do in this game. So another reason you can see why the feather in this game is so OP.
You know, when I was a kid, I thought that was the way you had to beat the dungeon. I couldn't actually beat the dungeon without doing that.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you did speedruns for so long, you're really confused once you see people playing this game casually.
But Dragon has got the flippers, so with that he's going to step into the teleporter and leave, and just head right on down to Dungeon 5 and 6.
Having a flawless Dungeon 4 here, by the way, there's like, it's a very small part of Dungeon 4. It only takes like a minute and 20 or so, but there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong, just minor mistakes that makes you lose 5 or 10 seconds, and it's really obnoxious.
Yeah, especially with that first dumb jump, which was jumping around that cracked block, because if you land in the water, since you don't have the flippers yet, there's an animation of Link drowning, and then he reappears at the doors. You're wasting a few seconds every time you miss that.
Oh yeah, that room is really annoying there. So yeah, about that Dungeon 4 split, we're gonna enter Dungeon 4 another time after we finish Dungeon 6, because weird thing, after you finished Dungeon 6 and after you picked up the what is it called? The Power Bracelet level 2?
Yeah, level 2 bracelet.
Yeah, once you picked up Bracelet 2, this actually, the ghost cutscene will be never appearing again. Oh my god, dragonc0 being so lucky. With the first kill in Dungeon 5, there's his piece of power dropping down, and having perfect RNG in that thing. I guess we can say that. I like to call this room the asshole room. Just because it's so annoying. I'm sorry.
Almosaurs are one of the most annoying enemies in Dungeon 5.
Yeah, it's really and also those skeleton warriors we can say on dragonc0 screen. It's those guys are just so random, and they jump away from your sword slashes and they throw bones at you, and they can really freak you out. Dragon having again great Helmosaur RNG right there, That guy's on fire, man. I can see one PB incoming right there. He really wants to go for it.
Oh, but here he is in the room with Master Stalfos, the mini-boss, and the big gimmick of Dungeon 5.
Oh yeah, actually also another cameo from A Link to the Past.
So,
We're gonna see Goombas later in the in Dungeon 5 also.
Yep. And we're gonna see Master Stalfos more as well. There's actually 4 rooms in this dungeon where you have to fight him in a very specific order and beat him 4 times in order to get the dungeon item for this dungeon, which is the hook shot. Already on the second fight here. This time we only need to hit him with 2 bombs. We got the timing down. Just trap him in the corner there, 2 bombs, and we're on our way.
Oh yeah. You're gonna want to hit him 3 times, 2 times, 2 times, 3 times with a bomb. Like that's the thing you gotta do while fighting him the 4 times throughout the dungeon. You can also see Dragon killing some more enemies in here. I'm actually kind of surprised by that, because I know Dragon wants to kill as less enemies as possible in Dungeon 5, because he usually goes for a piece of power drop in the Amos Maze, which is like the next overworld part we will see on our way to Dungeon 6. Maybe he's figured out a different route. I'm really excited.
That might be why he's doing it, because otherwise, normally, you'll see folks get the piece of power in Dungeon 6, so if he's getting the extra kills, he's probably trying to get that piece of power in the maze.
Oh yeah, for a good reason, because it's definitely faster. Just because Dungeon 6 is way longer than the entrance to Dungeon 6. Going for the perfect first try jump there. Dragon made that look really easy, but truth to be told, he actually jumped over 4 tiles in a row. And yeah, the game only intends you to jump over 3 tiles in a row, so by a really optimized movement there, and again, by sort of abusing the pit physics in this game, he just was able to jump over the 4 tiles there. We actually need the hookshot to go over there, but we don't have the hookshot yet, so who freaking who? We're just gonna go.
Yeah, your choices are either do a difficult jump with precise. You have to stand between 2 blocks. The placement's kind of tight. Either do that or get the hookshot all the way where he's going now, and then go all the way back up there. That takes forever. So no, just learn the jump. It's hard to learn at first. Once you figure out the trick to it, it's not that bad.
I mean, Dungeon 5 is as long as it is, and is long enough as it is. You know,
Yeah.
We don't need any unnecessary detours.
Yeah, don't want to spend any more time than we have to in this place.
Oh yeah. And dragonc0 finally picking up the hookshot, so right now he's gonna make his way to the boss in Dungeon 5.
Yeah.
And SkywardSamm being not too far behind, also in Dungeon 5, entering within the next few seconds, Master Stalfos fight number 3.
Oop, taking a hit there though, but he should still have a couple hits left, but he's not going to be able to do all the damage boosts in the swimming section.
Yeah, he should take care of that with a blue bloops or what they're called.
Ah, whatever. I'm terrible at remembering enemy names.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, but you will see that Dragon's going to actually take the hits necessary to lose Piece of Power before he gets into the Dungeon 5 boss, because Piece of Power actually makes that boss harder. It's one of the few cases where that's true. So he's probably going to take a hit on this spark here. There we go, and he's lost Piece of Power.
That's one of the rooms where you want to lose it with that, with the menu routing Dragon does. Entering the boss fight at a 28-22, that's really great, man. That should be almost a sub 29, which is an awesome pace for a race.
Yep. Now let's hopefully the wall snake's RNG is in his favor here, because it's random which one he comes out of. Ooh, good first one. Getting 5
with good
hits.
positioning, you could be able to get a theoretically, you could be able to get a 2-cycle, which Dragon got there every time.
Just like that.
Seeing a flawless Dungeon 5 by dragonc0, that was really great what he did there.
Sam also having a good Dungeon 5. He got the dumb jump on the second try, but still holding on to his Piece of Power and about to get the hookshot himself. So having a little bit of trouble with the Helmosaur, but otherwise also having a pretty strong D5.
Yeah. Another reason why this room is called the room by me. It's just the Helmosaur. The Helmosaur can really freak you out.
They have an annoying tendency to turn away from their weak spot right as your sword is swinging multiple times, and it's the worst feeling.
Oh yeah, like the timer when they turn or when they switch directions is just totally RNG. And yeah, it's, oh my god, it can just ruin your runs. Like, I'm one of the runners that just hate D5. I know there are some runners who just love it. I don't know why.
I think a lot of people love it just because it is a pure execution dungeon. Like, there's a little bit of RNG with Helmosaurs, but most of it is pretty much how good's your movement, how good is your positioning.
Yeah, that might be the case.
But
so SkywardSamm heading to the boss. dragonc0 going through a little maze there we like to call the Almost Maze. You see those statues, some of them are solid, some of them can be pushed around with your shield and will awake to life once you touch them.
Let's see if he can get that piece of power that we think he was routing for.
Nah, I guess he will go for the D6 piece of power.
Okay.
Like, the many enemies he killed in D5, he should be over his piece of power counter right now. And he's entering the Dungeon 6 mini-boss. No, not Dungeon 6 mini-boss. Oh, I don't know. What would we call him? The key holder of the Key Guardian, yeah. Pulling off a perfect 2-cycle there with something we call boot strats.
Yeah, you generally see two possible strats for that. You'll generally see boot strats, which are faster because you're taking advantage of the extra damage from a Pegasus charge. But it's also a bit riskier because you're a lot closer to him, and he does 2.5 hearts of damage if you touch him, so... You'll also see sometimes folks do strats involving spin attacks and the feather. That's actually what I do, because I still have trouble with boot strats, so... Better to do that than to die.
Yeah, especially in a race. I mean, even still top runners like Black or TGH, they still die to this day to boot strats because it's really precise with the timing there for a 2-cycle.
Well, let's see if Dragon gets that piece of power in D6, because he's on his way there now. And,
oh no. Shoot.
Oh no!
He didn't want to see that there. He was 2 enemies too far ahead.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
Because that was the one kill he didn't want to see there, and there's another kill coming up because obviously Bow Wow can eat cutscenes. So why the hell is that?
Well, as it turns out, the game treats cutscenes as sprites, and well, when Bow Wow eats things, he can eat sprites. So when you activate the cutscene and you fire that bomb arrow to the left, it creates a sprite that Bow Wow can eat, and when he eats it, the game doesn't know what to assign to it, so it assigns the cutscene, and that unlocks your movement so you can leave and just enter D6 without having to wait for it to open.
Yeah,
that's my understanding.
Yeah, that's right. It was like the perfect explanation right there. You know, like just the cutscenes are I don't know, handless sprites or something. Oh my shoot! Dragon have a little trouble there with the underground section. That can freak you out. And also, he probably will be quite disappointed that he didn't get his piece of power in Dungeon 6. It's a little unfortunate, but really hardly there's any chance to get it consistent, because like we said, every 30 enemies the piece of power will drop, and the kills that are produced by your fellow Bow Wow, who just randomly will eat enemies, also count towards your piece of power counter. So it's almost impossible to get it consistently.
Yeah, basically past Dungeon 5, routing for piece of power is exceedingly difficult, and honestly, D5 is the last dungeon where piece of power saves you any significant amount of time. D6, getting it in D6 or D7 or D8 saves you a bit of time, but it's really not nearly as worth it as routing for, say, D5 or D3.
Yeah, we could say Dungeon 3 and 5 are the important dungeons for the piece of power, but with top players, you can definitely see the difference in their splits when they get piece of power in Dungeon 6 or not.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see more and more people try to get D6 piece of power, but it's still not very common.
And we saw Dragon doing a series of super jumps there to get up to that section to get the big key. Him throwing the pot onto the chest to get the Dungeon 6 boss key was actually not a glitch. That was developer intended.
Yeah, that was...
one of the questions we get asked a few times.
Oh yeah, this game does something that no other Zelda game does that I can think of, and that's that there's a couple of doors and one treasure chest that you open by throwing pots at them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Is that the first Zelda where this appeared?
I think so, yeah. Oh, now it's time for the most skill-based room in the entire game right here. Let's see how good Dragon's skill is. Oh my goodness.
I was
practice.
Fourth try.
No, that's actually complete RNG. You have to throw the two horse heads until they're both upright, so it can be one attempt, it could be over 10. We've seen both.
And in case you tuned in earlier, again, go figure, it's depending on the global frame rule. So whether a horse head will stand on top or drop down, it's just pure RNG.
Humorously enough, the old route, actually, when I first learned this game, didn't actually go into the horse head room. But it turns out that it's the
great times.
Was, yeah, but I guess the route with the horse head is actually a bit faster, even with a couple of attempts. So that's just the way pretty much everyone runs it now.
Oh yeah, I actually timed that out one time. The old route where we actually did fight the mini boss. If you get a perfect mini boss fight and you get 5th or 6th try horse heads, it evens out. So, and you have to like make sure to get a perfect mini boss fight every time there. So we sort of exchanged some of the mini boss RNG to the horse heads.
Okay.
But it's definitely worth it, which is also a reason why basically every LEDX speedrunner does the new route right there. So also shoutouts to our buddy Black SR, who found that route. Black is a great guy. He's actually responsible for lots of small time saves and optimizations in the speedrun throughout the last year since I've been there. He's done so much for this game, so shoutouts to Black. We also saw a question there in chat earlier, while Dragon is going to Dungeon 4 the second time to finish it this time. There was a question what's happening in that waterway. You can see SkywardSamm being there, clipped into the right wall, utilizing a super jump to go to that higher layer. And the same thing we will be seeing in like 10 seconds or so. He will go down there, use a flaw clip to squeeze through that keyhole. Didn't work that the first time, but the second time worked. He will switch back to the feather and sword to do a super jump there. This actually is really precise because the timing is pretty finicky and you can soft lock there, but you saw him, he's fine. And now he's actually transitioning through there, skipping the mini boss fight because we don't need it, and going through this little passage there, actually the way you're not supposed to go through there. Like the game, if you play casually, intends you to go through there the other way. Also entering the horse heads there.
And first try, horse heads. How fortunate.
Yeah, definitely needs that RNG to make up some time. Having trouble with the flock up there.
Clips, though,
yeah, really bad RNG. Like it goes back and forth. It's all the small things throughout the run that makes a run world record pace or not. We saw there dragonc0 finishing the Dungeon 4 boss. He's called Bloop Bloop.
Is that really what it's called?
Yeah, it really is. I guess it is, yeah. Or is it bloopers? I don't know. Something with bloop.
I'm gonna stick with Bloop Bloop. I like that.
Yeah. And since we have bomb arrows, arrows and bombs, which we also not supposed to have at that part of the game. If we go the developer intended casual route, the boss is just like yeah, ridiculously easy.
Yep. But with that, we're not going to be seeing anything further south in this again, because at this point we're going up to the last two dungeons in the mountains, and then the egg. But Dragon is coming up on the big gatekeeping trick of the run, the one trick that everyone thinks looks so cool and is most daunting and difficult for people who are picking up this game, and even people who have been playing this game. It's just a difficult trick.
Oh yeah, it's a double frame perfect jump, utilizing something we call hookshot jumping. Because actually when you shoot the hookshot, no, I gotta explain this the other way. When you're jumping on the pit, we were talking about pit physics earlier. You don't drop into the pit immediately. You can like struggle around, move around on the pit a little bit before it sucks you in. We're gonna utilize that to fire the hookshot while sort of standing on the pit before we get sucked in. And then there's this one frame where the hookshot retracts, where the game doesn't check if you're standing on solid ground or not. We're gonna utilize that to jump off the pit. We're gonna see that on dragonc0 screen right there.
Oh no!
Oh, jeez. He probably missed the hookshot there.
It looks like it. Well, the thing is that you can do this trick perfectly, and if global frame rules are against you, you can still fall. I've seen it happen where the hookshot goes out, like they fire the hookshot, but the game still registers you fall, and you fall anyway. So there's even to someone who does this flawlessly. Like I think I've seen TGH do it with no buffers, first try, double frame perfect twice in this tournament, and if he could do that and still get bad luck with the frame rules and drop, but looks like Dragon
going for the safe strat there with the buffers for the second jump.
And it should be good. There we go.
Nice.
No, it's an extremely difficult trick, and it's made worse by the fact that unlike pretty much every other cave in the entire game, in this one, if you fall into any pits, you get knocked back out to the river like you saw there. So missing the trick costs you 20 to 30 seconds just to get back there to try it again.
Oh yeah, it's definitely 30 seconds or more, depending on how far you're on your rooster skip there. And we call it rooster skip because we skip the ocarina entirely, which we casually would need to resurrect the rooster that is supposed to fly us across those pits. Hence the rooster skip.
Yep, it turns out that between rooster skip and bomb triggers, we never actually need the ocarina in this game, which saves us a lot of time. We never have to go back to Maybe Village either.
Oh yeah, and we also would have to collect 300 rupees to learn song free on the ocarina.
Oh god, the frog song, that's right.
Oh yeah, it's a great deal, and also brings a huge side quest with it, so I'm glad we don't have to do that.
Dragon not quite getting the cutscene for Dungeon 7, so now you have to watch the tower spin around.
Loses probably like 3 to 4 seconds, I would say. So shouldn't be too much of a biggie. We got some more severe possible time losses incoming Dungeon 7. This dungeon is very broken compared to a casual playthrough. Utilizing a super jump there to go over those switch blocks, and immediately entering the second floor, where he will perform a series of bomb triggers to bring down those pillars.
Yeah, the intended route is to actually go get a metal ball and throw it against the pillars, but it turns out that pillars, the game treats them as events, as in the same kind of event that bomb triggers will affect, so we can just use bomb triggers to... the game just does its confused thing and breaks the pillars just like that.
You can see him how he brought down the first two pillars. He was dropping bombs while screen transitioning, having a little trouble there with bringing down the third pillar, because you can also mash bombs dropping into a pit. You know, dropping bombs into the pit just very fast, I guess within 4 frames. That way, also the game freaks out because it handles the dropping bombs as being 2 bombs on the same screen, which is the thing that makes these events go play. We don't know why, but it works.
Yep. And as you may imagine, dropping into the pit is definitely faster, but if you're not mashing it fast enough, you can and will drop all your bombs in the pit, and that wastes you a lot of time.
Oh yeah, that's really obnoxious. We see SkywardSamm going for the safe strat with Rooster Skip right away. Good call when you're doing a race and you're not that safe with Rooster Skip. You better go for the safe strat there, and that's what he did.
Alright, he gets the good sub-pixel, and he's through. I think that was his first try as well.
It was first try, definitely. So
very nice.
It's definitely also a high-risk, high-reward trick. And you can see top players like Black or TGH still practicing Rooster Skip before every run, at least 10 or 30 minutes. Because the double frame perfect jump just like can kill your run / race or whatever. dragonc0 finally getting something we call Goomba Surf.
Oh, it's an annoying trick. It's completely dependent on whether or not the Goomba against the wall moves to the right, and if it doesn't, you have to leave and re-enter the room, and he had to do it at least 5 times, it looked like.
It's a really advanced speed strat, you could say.
Yeah.
Because it depends pixel perfect positioning, and it also needs the Goomba RNG you just described. And also requires perfect execution there to not get stuck into the wall. I guess you got a frame window of like 10-ish frames to make the jump. And it's a frame window of 4 frames or so to get the jump so far that you don't get stuck into the wall. So, great job by dragonc0 there. Having a little trouble with RNG, but no biggie. Finishing Dungeon 7 while SkywardSamm just entering Dungeon 7.
I'm actually curious to see if Sam will actually do the other strat, which is the you can do a super jump and then bonk off a P hat a couple rooms away to get up to the D7 boss as well. It's a bit slower compared to optimal Goomba surfing, but it's also consistent. So some folks have to do that.
And I think actually it looks more swag. Or do you call it swagger?
No, swagger's fun.
SkywardSamm going for the dropping 2 bombs into the pit strat there. Having no problems bringing down those pillars. Also, we should add that we never had to fight the Dungeon 7 mini-boss and getting the Dungeon 7 boss key because of that trick we just saw earlier, the thing we call Goomba Surf.
Yeah, which leads to a very humorous thing where the boss, the Evil Eagle, the guy riding it, actually will say, "You killed my cousins because the D7 mini boss you do."
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, I've never seen you or your cousins before in my life, friend. What are you talking about?
That's right. I never thought about that.
Oh, Sam going for the P-hat bonk. Here we go. Oh,
actually buffering it. That's a nice safe strat right there. Great play.
I've never actually seen anyone buffer that before. That's interesting.
Yeah, but good call when it comes to a race. Because you can easily drop down those switch blocks and then it's really obnoxious to get out of there. Yep.
Oh, and meanwhile on Dragon you see you're skipping the reason why you generally need the level 2 shield from Dungeon 7. If you clip into the wall and then charge into that flamethrower, you actually can barely get past it. Otherwise it would just knock you back. And you need the shield. But we don't.
Yeah, it's the only reason you need. It's the only screen in this entire game where you need the level 2 shield. Like in most Zelda games, the level 2 shield is just, yeah, obsolete.
Absolutely. And oh, he's going for the sideways block push. That's normally you see folks do the naked super jump.
Oh my God,
he's doing a Jesus jump.
Doing lava swim strats there for the viewership. Jesus Christ.
No, he's doing lava swim. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing Jesus jump. Oh man.
So yeah, what did we see there? Dragon just did a swim in the lava. As you can imagine, you're not supposed to do that. But that's again the thing. While screen transitioning, the game doesn't check whether you're in lava or in water. And those lava and water tiles are somewhat the same, I guess. And that is why, after the screen transition, the game thinks you're swimming in water instead of lava.
It's actually really similar to a trick in Link to the Past in that sense.
Oh yeah, the fake flippers. I guess it's probably the same that is happening right there.
Yeah, I think it works for a similar reason, but I don't think you can swim in lava in Link to the Past.
Which is actually not too much of a surprise. I heard that like people of Nintendo like to copy and paste code, you know, like in between games and game physics and whatnot. I mean, for good reasons. There's always production value involved and blah blah.
Yeah. Well, from what I understand, the development of Link's Awakening was pretty much just a couple of developers with spare time on their hands trying to see if they could make Link to the Past work on the Game Boy, and then some higher ups thought it was great and said, "Hey, just make a new Zelda game then." And so they did. So
That's
wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if they were copying parts and gameplay from Link to the Past wholesale.
Yeah, definitely. Gonna see another appearance of the Dungeon 4 mini-boss. Actually, the Dungeon 1, 2, and so it's the Bone Guy, Hinox. We see the Dongo somewhere. Dungeon 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. We got one. Right. Yeah, isn't it?
The Dongo Snake appears in Dungeon 3, Dungeon 6, and Dungeon 8.
Oh yeah, that's it. But I just wanted to say Dungeon 8 is the last dungeon we see there, and we got a reappearance of the mini-bosses of Dungeon 1, 2, 3, 4, and Dungeon 6. So you can call this somewhat a boss rush, you know. We like to see those in many of the games.
Yep.
dragonc0 not doing a lava swim there, but utilizing the dropping on water physics to get pushed down 1 pixel into the wall to be able to do a super jump to enter the final boss fight for Dungeon 8. Getting 1 cycle. Great job there by Dragon.
Very nice. Hothead's a little bit random, both in his health and his movement, so you have no way of knowing if you're going to be... You try for the 1 cycle, but you can't always guarantee it. And... Oh.
Disqualified. Some
Dragon,
inside jokes.
I was in your corner right up until this point.
So we see Dragon finishing Dungeon 8 Skyward, not being too far behind. So, because dragonc0 is coming to the final boss fight. Actually, I guess we're not on PB pace anymore, sadly. So it's going to be a tough one for Dragon there. But still on a very good pace. Like, everything sub 56 is a really great pace for a race, you have to say.
Oh, absolutely. And not to mention, we're going to see the last couple of interesting uses of bombs here heading into the final. The egg. It's not really a dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to get 1 more bomb trigger in order to play music, because apparently Link can play the bomb like an ocarina. He's a very talented boy.
Oh, yeah. Also, this is one of the few Zelda games, I guess, where bombs don't hurt yourself.
No, you're right. Which is actually pretty convenient, considering how much we use bomb arrows right on top of yourself.
Oh yeah, it's actually really confusing when I try to play Oracle of Ages or Oracle of Seasons, where they fixed that non-logic, you could say. Like, I don't know how to say this. Like, it doesn't make any sense that the bombs don't hit you. Yeah, and that's also a reason why we need to collect all 8 instruments to make this Windfish egg crack open.
Yeah, we have yet to figure out a way to break it open sooner. Because if you come up here and try to bomb trigger, the event is not the egg opening, the event is the song playing.
That's right, and if you don't have all 8 instruments, the song will play, but it won't do shit. It won't do anything, so yeah.
Yeah. Uh-oh, now we're in the random corridors of the egg here. Normally the game wants you to go to a really long trade sequence, which will let you get a magnifying glass, which lets you read a book, and the book tells you what the path is. But turns out, the path is randomly generated only when you read the book, so since we don't read the book at all, the default path, we know what it is.
Doing 1 last bomb trigger for the road, which lets you skip a huge text box appearing there. dragonc0 attempting to do a quick kill on the blob. Getting it, great job. Actually what's happening there is just the blob phase. He's sort of getting stuck upon your sword, and that makes him getting stuck there. He doesn't know where to jump, and that makes him take some damage. So that's like sort of the non-technical explanation to that fight. We got Aghanim, another reoccurrence from The Link to the Past. Getting good RNG there because the first 2 hits are guaranteed. The third one is 50-50 also. All All another ones after that.
Yep. And there's no telling how many of those blue balls you'll get, because unlike Aghanim, there isn't an Aghanim fight, there's a certain number of blue balls you can get, and then the game would give you a guaranteed yellow again. Not the case here.
2 blue balls, that's totally average.
That's time for Moldorm too.
Oh yeah, with a precise spin slash and mashing pattern, we can soft lock that guy there. Great job by dragonc0 for the final boss fight. Ganon, reappearance from Link to the Past. This guy is just a joke if you bump into him a few times like we just saw there. Landmola only needs a spin slash, and we come to the final boss fight, which is Devil.
Oh,
and we got pure RNG again.
How many times have you seen someone be on world record pace only for Devil not to open his eye and lose the run?
Oh yeah.
You have to hit him with 16 arrows. If your timing is good, you can get 4 arrows per eye open. A lot of times you'll get 3. And the eye opening... Oh, he's getting really good eye.
Getting good RNG there.
Absolutely, that was
Oh my god, great job. That is a sub 56. You just have to mash through these text boxes and then he's done with the game. Time will be once he climbed the stairs and when the screen fades completely to white.
And he's done.
dragonc0 finishing with a SRL time of 55-54.
Adding the comment, oh man, I think he was I think he was hoping to get a little bit lower, but that was still a very solid run, very solid race run.
Yeah, I guess the piece of power once he on his way to Dungeon 6 was the event where things went wrong. And of course, really unfortunate there with the skip. But yeah, let's see what he has to say for himself. So good evening, dragonc0.
Hi.
GG, man, great race.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah. I'm sad.
Sad, why? Why are you sad?
Because that was the run. And it died hard.
Yeah, almost a sub 29 pace in Dungeon 5. That was a great run.
That was great.
And you also going for a new dungeon, new Dungeon 6 piece of power strats, right?
I tried. Apparently, I killed a lot of enemies, so it worked.
We actually thought you were trying to get the piece of power in Armos Mage with all those enemies you were killing.
Then I would kill way less. I thought piece of power dropped early in D5 on the first enemy, so I thought, let's go for D6. And I overkilled by 2.
Oh yeah, you were super lucky with a Dungeon 5 piece of power drop.
Yeah, I was so
scared.
Bow out so much on the way to D4. But
and yeah, that
was still in time.
That rooster skip, of course, was very unfortunate.
Yeah, I forgot I wasn't on the pit yet, so I tried to buffer my hook shot, and that doesn't work if you're still in the air.
Oh,
so I walked straight into the pit.
Oh damn it, those things can happen, yeah.
I was too focused on my menu, trying to get my menu right with whatever is on the A, with whatever is on B, because I had to switch it around. And I forgot, I wasn't paying attention, and I fell in the pit.
But dragonc0 having a great windfish egg there, having 2 blue balls. We saw 4 blue balls just with SkywardSamm, just making his way throughout the windfish egg, going for safe strats there. I don't know how he call that, the shovel strats.
Yeah, shovel strats is what I've always heard it called.
So we're just gonna come back to our races later, just trying to catch a little bit of SkywardSamm's windfish egg fight there.
Alright, Landmole is down.
Got 23 arrows left for the final boss phase, that should suffice.
Nice.
Let's see if we can get a Deathel as good as the one dragonc0 had. That was a good Deathel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. Typically damage limited.
He's having a little bit of trouble keeping him in place. Oh, he's loose, he's loose!
With accurate positioning, you can make him getting stuck in the upper upper right corner. Oh, missing a few arrows here.
Ooh.
Oh, and he did it. Having 2 arrows left, not too much, but he did it. Should be sub 1 hour though. So also great race by SkywardSamm. And once again, time will be once he climbs up this and when the screen fades to white. And we can see SkywardSamm finishing there with an SRL time of 59:54.
All right, GG to SkywardSamm.
So let's also see if we can bring him in voice chat. Out. Yeah, so still, that rooster skip, of course, was very unfortunate. And I had the feeling after that, the 10. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Goomba
that
Surf.
Goomba Surf.
Fuck that Goomba Surf.
I felt so bad. You had to reset the screen at least 5 times, it looked like.
Like 7, I believe.
But then
Your
getting
first
the
2
try.
times. Yeah, I got a nice jump. That's kind of good, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, Goomba is another thing that can easily end you, and you're already 45 minutes into the run. It saves about 10-ish seconds compared to the old, quote-unquote, old route. So it's something not all runners would do in a race. It's a high-risk, high-reward thing, and you can also get stuck into the wall, but we saw Dragon getting there really easily. And we got SkywardSamm with us, so GG to SkywardSamm.
Yeah,
Thanks,
GG.
dude. Thanks.
GG.
GG to Dragon too. Sick run.
Thanks.
Apparently, sub 1 is just free. I did not feel like it should have still been a sub 1. That was like trash run.
Yeah.
Although that was my goal, was to at least get sub 1, so I'm overall still happy, I guess.
Congrats.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, started out with Moblin RNG. We saw Dragon having perfect Moblin skip RNG.
Yeah, that was really frustrating. I was wondering if something like that was going to happen. I didn't have Dragon's footage up while I was running, so I had no idea how far ahead he was for me.
Oh, he had an insane run up to
I had a great
Dungeon
early
5.
game. Up until Dungeon 6. I was so happy with that.
Yeah, it's hard to feel motivated about a run when like Moblin just like kills it right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tried to bring it back. That and I missed Quick Sword too because I'm just a pro. It's a good start.
Time to get good again.
Exactly. Should have grinded Quick Sword. It's the only way.
That's
Pretty
what
much.
gives you all the PBs.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you actually didn't do the mistake to go for the double frame perfect jump with Rooster Skip. That saved you a few seconds back compared to dragonc0, who just dropped down the pit immediately.
Oh, you got one of those. That sucks.
Yeah.
I screwed up. It was all my fault.
So he went for bufferless, or did he bufferless?
I
don't
did not
know.
even get my first jump off the first try. I misjudged my position, so I buffered my hookshot, but I was still in the air, so you can't shoot your hookshot while in the air, and I walked straight into the pit.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was unfortunate.
I'm glad I didn't throw all my bombs into the pit in D7. That's one thing I like.
I threw 8 bombs into the pit also on the third pillar.
8?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, my heart was
Luckily
beating
I
there
had it
for
up.
a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was nervous. Like I was thinking about buffering it because I was afraid I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I didn't end up actually doing it. I'm glad that did not happen to me. My gosh.
Yeah.
Did that affect you anywhere else having 8 less bombs?
No.
after that?
I have enough bombs.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds so easy to drop 2 bombs within 4 frames, but I still struggle hell with it.
Yeah, every once in a while.
So yeah, that was a great race of Group F. Thank you so much, dragonc0. Thank you so much, SkywardSamm, for that great race. I really enjoyed it.
No problem. It's fun.
And also glad if we got the race, both races finishing on the sub 1 hour. So that's not always the case. Group F, there's still some matches, so there's still Jodo Bright and Mashi within your group. We will see a lot of more matches with Group F coming up, so there's still not the last word said how this group will end with a standing, because the 2 first placed of that group of 4 will forward to the single elimination phase, the second phase of our tourney.
Right.
So it's still going to be exciting.
Oh yeah, I'm
Exciting.
looking forward to all the races, without a doubt.
Yeah, so I guess we still have some time to give some shoutouts to dragonc0 and SkywardSamm. Do you have some time to let dragonc0 and SkywardSamm do some shoutouts? I'm sorry. So, Dragon, you want to go ahead?
Shoutouts to Roosters and Goombas. May your runs always be wrecked.
And SkywardSamm.
I'm gonna do a shout out to Wang because that's just the best trick in the game.
I missed it.
Yeah, I was about to say, Dragon missed it.
I'm gonna throw a shout out to my mod RWBY. Sorry for being a cool guy, and that's about it for me.
Nice.
Alrighty.
Also, one more shout out to Dragon for teaching me how to do bootstraps, and then I just absolutely failed at it in the run. So shout out to him.
That's the thought that counts.
Right.
Alrighty, so yeah, also thank you so much, Crunchy, for doing the commentary with me this time. I always enjoy it very much.
Oh, thank you for you doing it with me, because I don't think I haven't talked to you since GDQ. It's been a while. It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, same here, man. So, having said that, this was Link's Awakening, the X, no Scoop, no 7 Quid, no Wrong Warp, no Out of Bounds. Stay put, because we got some more matches coming up the next few days on Speed Gaming, Speed Gaming 2. Thank you so much for Fiesel for the perfect restream, like always, like we used to. This is great. And stay around on Speed Gaming 2. We got Super Metroid Randomizer coming up at 4 p.m. EDT. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And
yeah. And I hope you like Super Metroid Randomizer, because we also have that all over Speed Gaming 1, all the way up until 9:30, and we have some Zelda 2, if you want a little bit of more side-scrolling Zelda action.
I guess being interrupted on Speed Gaming 2 at 5:30 by the big Link to the Past randomizer open mode qualifier match. I guess it's a third of 5 qualifier matches. Gonna participate in that one. I'm also excited about the other participants, so that's gonna be a huge thing in autumn, in fall. So gonna stick around for that one. It's gonna be exciting. I guess Dragon also is going to participate in that one, right?
And what? I'm not paying attention, sorry.
I'm sorry, the open mode A Link to the Past randomizer.
I think I'm gonna sit that one out. I need my sleep.
Yeah. Too much speedrunning, US guys, is costing us Europeans too much sleep.
I have to check my set score for that. See if I'm close to top 87 or not.
Alrighty. Yeah, the C score the C score deciding whether you go on to the next round. So yeah, getting a little off topic there. My name was Bamboo Shadow. I was joined by my lovely fellow Crunchy Legs. Gonna come up some Super Metroid Randomizer. I hope you guys gonna have a great afternoon and evening, and we'll see you around soon.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.
Yep. See you later.